I guess this is the hard part about doing an old Mopar. What is up, everybody? Today's video will not be about the M715. Today's video will be about another project that I am bringing home. It's been in my family for over 40 years. I do apologize for not having put out another video over the last 2 weeks. I was still sick for quite a while. Work picked up, just a number of factors. I'm finally getting over it. It's still just hanging on, you know. I did procure some more parts to get a little further on the axle swap here. So now I got a set of Super Duty rims. And I already have the two on the front axle here, so I can make it a whole lot easier to roll this around and get it over under there and start getting that figured out. Today's video will be about the 1970 AAR cuda. Like I said, this has been in my, I'm gonna be 41. My dad's had it longer than I've been alive, so I mean he's had it for about 45 years. He bought it probably about 10 years after it was made, and it was probably crashed, I don't know, 8-9 years afterwards. So it's been sitting since the 70s. The video is just going to be showing around the car, you know, bad spots, good spots, just looking it all over, kind of taking a peek at the amount of work I have to do. We plan on starting to do that. We're just stripping stuff off of it right now, cleaning things up, checking things out. I will be getting on the axle swap this weekend here. It's Mother's Day weekend also, so it's kind of hectic, but I will be getting on the M715. I would like to have that thing up and going and be able to drive that this summer and go cruising with the top down. All right, so for those of you that don't know, this is my parents' property where I keep some of my junk and where my dad's junk currently presides. This would be his. Apparently these old tires are pretty tough. These have been flat for some time. It's separating. As you can see, I don't have a winch, just a very hard worker. She's creeping. Good job. I just love the shape of the car, the body lines. They're just so cool looking. Yeah, that took air. The fishtail. Well, here she is in the garage, just getting a general look over. This is the first time I've ever really looked this car over up and down, so just been giving it a good look over. Now, this particular model of cuda was only made 1 year, 1970, obviously. So not only was this car only made 1 year, there's a lot of one-off parts that were only made for this car and drivetrain components that were also made for the Challenger TA of the same year. Just giving the interior a clean for the first time in 40-some years. My dad ran into it with the plow truck, knocked out the window, but that's all right. Nowadays they sell all of this stuff, it seems anyways, from what I've looked at. Pretty nasty. All right, well, I had to call in somebody who can actually fit in here into the cuda trunk. There.
Good girl. Good job.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Be careful coming out of there.
It's so tight.
Yes, it is.
Helping work in the car, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a small space. Thank you, honey.
You're welcome.
Good job, girl.
It's so tight in there.
This is across the top of the windshield. Yeah. There's parts like that that are... I guess this is the hard part about doing an old Mopar. It's the seal for the windshield. And it's obviously going into the roof. Alright, so we'll start off on the rougher side. There's some good rust in the quarter panels there. They said tires are toast. I'm surprised that they took air. I just love the body lines on these. When you look at the top of the fender, how it's just got that flat spot that right there. That's it. Besides the dented in part there. We'll go over and get a better look at the top of the fender on the side that has no damage. So in 1970, they made the AAR cuda for the Trans Am Race Series. They built the bare minimum that they had to get into the Trans Am Racing Series. They built 2,724 cudas. Now on top of the ultra low production numbers, they also came with a 344 bolt main with a 6-pack. They only used the motor that year for the AAR cuda and the Challenger TA, so there was about 5,000 of those floating around. We do not have the original motor. I've seen them for sale, upwards of $25,000 complete, from oil pan to carburetors. Now you can option these cars all kinds of different ways. You can get them in many different colors, but the AAR cuda came with a black hood and a black grille. It also had little fiberglass fins on the bottom, and it had a wing on the back. These cars also came factory with a side exit exhaust before the rear tire. Here's a shot of the trunk. The AAR cuda also had the antenna moved to the back fender as opposed to the front fender where all other cudas had the antenna. And here I've been peeling all the stuff out of the seams inside and out the car. So now all those things that make the cuda, specifically the AAR cuda, very unique and one-off, they now reproduce all these parts, the hoods and the wings and all that stuff. You used to have to try to track down these parts and pay top dollar, but nowadays it's just a click of a button away. Now the passenger side here was the side that took the damage. This is a spot that over 40 years ago some shop pulled out and made it look better, straightened it up some, slapped a few welds on it here and there. There's other spots on the top part closer to the firewall. They also tried to recreate the holes for the fender bolts on the top in some spots. As far as the shape of this car, I don't feel too bad about it after watching Jennings Motorsports start to restore a cuda that he got. He had to cut off damn near every single body panel. The only thing that was left when he was done was the door. Back to a little more story on the car. My dad bought it probably about 1978 or 79. He got it for $400. And it just goes to show you what people thought of these cars back then. They were considered a throwaway car by some, with the unibody and being this car was from the city, they like to rust out also. But anyways, he got it for $400, accumulated some parts. We have a hood. We have a 1970 grill that is not blacked out. A 340 that needs a rebuild. An A833, a pistol grip shifter. We have most of the interior. Front fender. We need another front fender. So yeah, he bought it. It sat behind the garage in Milwaukee for a while and then got put into the garage when my grandpa moved out and the Hudson went to his house. My dad put the cuda in the garage and it sat there till we moved up to where we live now. And it sat in the yard for a while. Then it went and sat at another guy's house for a couple years. Then it went back and sat in the yard again. And now we're here. Now I have it in my garage. Now it's time to start working on it and actually see this thing become roadworthy. Now, I'm not saying this thing's going to get restored perfectly, like on a rotisserie or anything like that. If anything, it's going to be like a roadkill car. She's going to be ugly, but she's going to run. Rear frame rails are pretty clean. Alright, so that's a little backstory about this particular cuda. Little history lesson on AAR cudas in general. It's also a thank you. Thank you for watching. We're going to try to make some progress on this car and get her coming along. It's been part of my family, like I said, for well over my entire life. So 41 years of me and 45 years of my dad's life. So it's about time we start working on it. In my next video, I will be doing the front axle swap. I'll try to get that out sometime this week or this next weekend. We'll see. And just hoping for the best to get it done. I want to be cruising this thing by the summer. So thank you for watching. Subscribe, like, show other people.